Close your eyes and imagine. What if the things in life that cause us the greatest pain, the things that bring us grief, are challenges? Challenges designed to help us grow, to ultimately become what we were always meant to be. We feel like we've been buried, but what if, like a seed, we've been planted? And having been planted, we grow to become a mighty tree. Now, open your eyes. Open your eyes to this way of viewing life. Come with me as we explore your true, infinite, eternal nature. This is Grief to Growth, and I am your host, Brian Smith. Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Grief to Growth. I'm Brian Smith, and whether this is your first time here or you've been walking this road with me for a while, I'm glad you're here. This show is about making sense of life, especially when life doesn't make sense. We talk about grief, loss, and the questions that keep us up at night. Who are we? Where do we go when we die? And is it possible that the people we've lost are closer than we think? I bring guests on to help illuminate the path, no matter how dark it feels. My guest today is Maya Tiwari, and she carries a kind of wisdom that doesn't come from a classroom, it comes from survival. Maya is a spiritual teacher, a humanitarian, and a pioneer who brought Ayurveda to North America before most of us had ever heard the word. But underneath the titles is a woman who once stared down a death sentence, walked away from a monastic life that no longer fit, and rebuilt herself around a single idea that there is power inside us, older than our wounds, older than our fear, and it's waiting to be reclaimed. She calls that power Shakti. In this conversation, we're going to explore what it means to stop identifying with the body and start remembering who we really are. Now, Maya has a new book out called Am Shakti, and it isn't a gentle wellness read. It's a manifesto. It's a plea for women to reclaim a feminine power that she says has been trampled and demoralized for 2,000 years. And it's a challenge for men to step out of toxic masculinity and into something she calls the divine masculine. We'll talk about earth intelligence, about the bond between all living things, and about why she believes that the healing of the whole world depends on restoring a balance most of us didn't even know we'd lost. So this one's for you if you've ever felt like the world has knocked the power right out of you. If you've been carrying loss or fear or the quiet sense that you've forgotten something essential about your own nature, Maya would tell you it's still there. It always was. And if you want to continue this conversation after the episode, head over to grieftogrowth.substack.com. You'll find an article there about today's discussion where you can comment and connect with me and other listeners. So with that, let's get started and welcome Maya Tiwari.
Brian, it is such a joy to be on with your show, and thank you. I love the name of your show, Grief to Growth. It's a very powerful name, actually, because we find ourselves as a humanity in a state of grief, whether or not we know it. There's just been so much unfolding so quickly, and yet not fast enough. And I'd love to talk about Shakti, which is the feminine primordial power. I'd love to talk about the masculine primordial power as well, in Sanskrit called Shiva. But in different traditions over millennia, it has been called many things. But we know that divine feminine, divine masculine, it's key to the kind of balance that we must establish, especially today in this time riven with disasters, conflicts, corruption, and all the things that we're facing. And I think one of the most important things that I would love to address today, apart from our individual power and being intact, is to acknowledge there is a new time that has rolled around in the eons of time, a new cycle where we're entering what we call the new earth. And what that really means. So much of the mainstream is ignoring this completely. From lack of understanding, from our governance and frontrunners, political frontrunners not knowing how to tell the complete public that they've been lying for trillions of years.
Yes.
and trying to save face and everything else. But this is a pivotal time. So having this conversation about our identity in terms of humanity, in terms of feminine masculinity, I think is critical.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And Grief to Growth is, of course, the name of my show, and that I think is on an individual basis and on a collective basis. So we're going through that as a collective. We also go through that individually. And I know you've had quite a journey to get to where you are. We don't have time to go through all that today, but just give people a sense of what your background is.
Yes, thank you. I was born in a Hindu family, but we had been exported since my grandparents' time with the British to the colonized British Guyana.
Mm,
And so life for me grew up, it was an anomaly in terms of tradition, in terms of uh, melding the colonized way of living with the Indian or Hindu way of living. But basically, at a very early age, I came to New York to study, built a fashion career very quickly, actually, at a very, very young age, became very well known in the fashion industry. And by the time I turned 18, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer.
mm,
And, and so life had started very early for me, and it had actually diverted very early as well.
yeah.
So, having spent 5 years with the conventional protocols of surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, whatever, I was given a death sentence, really, 6 months to live. And I took time away from the medical system because I realized that I had reached a dead end. They had tried everything they possibly could. They were wonderful. They were quite invested in my care. However, I realized the answer lies somewhere else. When I wasn't at that point looking to survive the disease, but as it turned out, I went into solitude in a wonderful snow-driven area of Vermont and stayed there alone for 6 months and came back alive.
Mm,
That was one of the most transformative times in my life, but I was too young to understand precisely what happened. And I still don't understand quite clearly what happened. There was no timeline in terms of this followed that and that happened. But I had been in those years fairly unhinged from my physical body because going through that many surgery and chemotherapy and the like, you become fragile in the physical organism.
hmm
And so I had a glimpse of this incredible vast universe that we are sitting in today and understood that it was really the divine grace. I had seen visions of the Divine Mother so many times during that period and understood that I was not the one who saved myself, but
mm,
there was a grace beyond that took charge and I came out alive. And it actually changed the destiny of my path as well. Perhaps it didn't change it, it rerouted me back to a certain path.
hmm
It was an ancestral path that was spiritual. And I'm not saying religious because monks are not religious people. They're devoted to spirituality, whatever that means, the human essence, the human spirit, uh, promoting the intelligence that we have within us, the awareness that we have within us. And it really transcends any of the form of modern religion or what we call religions
hmm
anyway, most of which are control oriented and set up by what I call the patriarchs or the cabals or the dark state to control humanity. But basically, it took me back to that path that led me to India, to an incredible Vedic master whom I studied with, the healing science of Ayurveda, and more importantly, the science of self knowledge, which is called Vedanta in the
mm.
language of Sanskrit. So, having said that mouthful, Brian, I need you to rescue the moment.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you sharing that, and it's quite a journey. So you had come to the in sense like you had the success in the fashion industry at a very early age.
Yes, and that was fiending a lot of things, actually, my age, my skills. But I had a sense of myself at a very early age,
Mm-hmm.
the things I was capable of doing, the things I was enthusiastic about trying out in life. And that's always a good thing. When we pretend we know something before we know it, we become students of that knowledge and we then end up knowing it.
Hmm. So you became a Vedic monk, but then at some point, a
Yes,
few
at
years
some
ago,
point
you
in my
you.
study about 30 years ago, I took the vows of a sannyasin, which is a Vedic monk,
Hmm.
walked it for 25 or, more, or so years. And then I was not unhappy in the path. I was dedicated to the path. I
Hmm.
was dedicated to the continued studies of Vedas and self knowledge, dedicated to service, to servicing others,
Sure.
which has been really the call of my life since I survived cancer at 22. But something was amiss.
Hmm.
And I decided to drop the ropes, not my pursuit of the inner awareness, but the robes itself,
Hmm.
because it symbolized so much of what is commercial today. So much of what is a product, so much of what is a product of ourselves and a product we'd like to become.
Hmm.
And I am not going to speak ill of the tradition. It's phenomenal and it has given me so much wisdom,
Hmm.
for which I'm forever grateful. But I also felt my femininity locked down in a certain way. Not that if I were married, it would be expressed in the best of ways, and not in that sense,
Hmm.
but in the divine primordial sense of walking the journey in a woman's body. And even though I had lost my womb at the early age from cancer and all of that, I still wanted to express uh, the maternal aspect of our living, because in the world that we have built over so many eons, it has become more and more patriarchal, more and more control oriented. Not only where the divine feminine has been stripped from the terrain of earth, but the divine masculine as well has been stripped from the male contingency.
Yeah.
Our roles have completely morphed into the useless service of the inane governance of who we are.
Mm.
And I speak with passion, Brian, because we are entering what is called the new world. We cannot step into that threshold with the old mentality.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting talking to someone from a different culture, religion, because I was raised in Christianity here in the U.S., and it's obviously a very patriarchal society that we live in. The religion, we actually got rid of the divine feminine. We just said there's a Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We're like, what happened to the mother in this thing? So I knew that was in Christianity. I didn't
Yeah,
realize
the
that.
mother came from the rib of Adam, I think.
Yeah, it's just like women are just like an afterthought in that tradition. So it's really interesting. And we can look around the world right now and not even getting political. We can just say there's something very wrong. The energy is just off, and I think it is the fact that the divine feminine and masculine have both been trampled for this toxic masculinity.
The toxic masculinity, and what is incredible is humanity is drowning in the information.
Mm.
The collective field is loud right now, right? So the nervous system of humanity is being tested and overstimulated. More and more, there's going to be series of disclosure. What nonsensical disclosure that only keeps us riveted with pain and angst and anxiety. And I
Hmm.
think, first off, in order for us to understand the frequency, the vibration of what you and I are talking about, not just the words, we've got to be able to come to terms with the fact that we are closing down the mainstream media to the most extent, because basically we are being kept distracted. And that distraction is not going to serve us at all. We lack coherence. And what I mean by coherence is that quiet space inside the self where we can tell what truth is and what truth is not,
Yeah.
not to be barraged by the overwhelming, you know. And Christianity is beautiful. If we go back to the original Christos, the Christi, the crystalline, exquisite thing that's unfolding today,
Hmm.
we have more Christ energy in the universe today in the new earth than we have probably ever had on earth. It's not about the second coming of Christ, or that notion, although we can play into that notion. It's a
Hmm.
limiting notion. But it is, in fact, what is reformatting. It is the crystalline energy that is reformatting our very cellular tissue, our bio bodies and mind. And and so it's never been about the religion. Religions were formatted like governments were formatted, political, social, political religiosity in order to have yet another arm of control over humanity.
Yeah.
So we are just incredible spiritual beings.
Hmm.
Whatever nomenclature was given to us, we're spiritual beings. And if we need to get past the old system, we need to already forsake it. We need to forsake and forgive, not be in a state of angst and rebellion and reaction. We're not going to win a war by reacting with angst and anxiety, and you've lied to us for 3,000 million years. That's not going to help. Okay, we swallow the truth, but we have a greater gift that is awaiting us, Brian.
Hmm.
The gift of sentiency, the gift of reclaiming our awareness as human beings, the gift of knowing that we were never this locked down, manipulated, preyed upon creature.
Yeah.
We are an amazing consciousness.
It's very, very interesting. We're having this conversation right now because in my experience recently, I've been having so many people from different spiritual backgrounds saying there's something happening. There's something coming. There's a shift coming in humanity, and you're confirming for me what I've heard from other people that there's kind of an awakening coming. But I love what you're saying. It's like we're not here to fight fire with fire. We're not to be angry about the past and to get locked into even the fact right now, even with the quote disclosure, it's just another distraction. Like the Epstein files, and everybody's talking about the Epstein files here, and people, and it's like that's not important.
Let's look at the underground of Israel and what was just excavated and which is not in the news. The darkness, the deep darkness, the stargates that have been manipulated and taken over, that has now been restored to it. There's been a magnificent amount of magnanimous work being done
Mm,
around the planet with the great central sun, with the solar storms that we are about to receive. All of it is recalibrating the human cellular body. And if we just stop for a moment, if we just cut free from the daily routine of the fears, and we've got to do this and we've got to accomplish this, and all of the stuff we've been taught to do and to be, we're not becoming anything. We've always been that
yeah,
central intelligence, that the
yeah.
intelligence that the earth has. We have so much to celebrate. And at the same time, we have so much to look forward to, but we've got to do the deep inner work. And this is the juncture. And thank you for allowing me to speak to this, Brian, because it seemed like we are all avoiding it
Mm,
in the mainstream, and we cannot avoid it. Even the most brilliant people are saying, well, it's a theory. And no, it's not a theory. It's a happening. It's a
mm.
happening right now where our ability to stay grounded and compassionate and sovereign while the world changes in visible and invisible way is the key to where we are right now. We have got to retain that. We've got to take it back.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I totally agree with that. So for people that don't understand what the well, let's talk about the divine feminine
Mhm.
because I know you said you didn't want to just talk about that, but a lot of us don't even know there is a divine feminine. Well, all we know is this masculine energy that we've been just inundated with. So let's talk about what Shakti actually is.
Shakti is the primordial force that gives birth to the entire universe, the world.
Mm,
The manifesting energies, both at the level of manifesting an entire universe and then dissolving the entire universe. And also, it's not just the power to give birth to babies and the power, it is the power to be sovereign and to hold together everything that has been manifested, the protection of our good earth, the protection of our family, the safeguarding of the human intelligence in terms of how it unfolds. Shakti is vast, and
mm,
it just so happens that the procreative powers of it is held in the woman's body
mm-hmm,
and in all female species as well. But the procreative free will power is held in the woman's body, and because animals are exempt from the free will, as humanity is not, and it is because of this free will that free will has been actually locked down And it has been polarized, and it has been stolen, and it has been misused, and it has been caged with an open door,
Hmm.
all of it over a long time. So I think one of the first bases of understanding what has happened to us is, yes, we can mourn for a short while that all of this critical uh, divesting of our own energies has happened,
Hmm.
the deterioration of it, the stamp down of it. But we don't have too much time to mourn either right now. But we can jump to this incredible terrain of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we can jump to forgiveness, we are free.
Yeah.
We're free of the past. We're free of who did what, when, where, and how long. 26,000 years was the last elliptical cycle, by the way.
Mm.
The last great universal eclipse was 25,772 years ago, actually.
Oh, wow.
So we don't have time to mourn all that,
Hmm.
and nor is it necessary. If we can come back to what every basis of every ancient religion, when it was pure,
Yeah.
when there was no articulation of power around it, when it was not a commodity. If we can get back to the basic understanding of not only forgiveness, but kindness, I accept, I want to scan my life for everything that is unkind,
Mm.
everything that I have been unkind to myself, all the pressures that we live under, that's total unkindness to ourselves, Brian.
Yeah.
The pressure of having to live a certain way, of having to earn a certain amount of money, of having to live in a certain neighborhood, of having to buy a certain shoes for our children, of having to keep up with the keep up with the keep up. That's total unkindness. It's brutal. It's riven with pain.
Yes.
So if we can begin to quieten all of that need to be and to become inside of us, then we are at a very good starting point of where we can take back our frequency. We've got to get rid of it from the fear, urgency, conflict, survival based interpretation. All of these things, we've got to strip them, strip the family down to where we have our basic, incredible needs. And please, 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 it's not about talking about vegetarianism, but we've got to stop murdering the animals and calling it a feast. That I've written about that for what, centuries now?
Hmm.
Centuries in terms of since I survived cancer, my first book, A Life of Balance. What
Mm.
is it? What is it to understand the energies in our own being with the earth? And we have got to, because in protecting Mother Earth, we protect the earth within ourselves, the divine feminine of our own soul. In
Yeah.
protecting the divine feminine of our own spirit and soul and physical body, which is always failing anyway, then we are also protecting the Shiva, the masculine divine energies. And they begin to step up into that empowerment because we cannot know about the divine feminine without knowing about the divine masculine.
Hmm.
And what is the primordial energy of the divine masculine? It is to hold the field stable, it is to stabilize, it is to give that strength and that power that contain that which is being manifested in light for all, in
Hmm.
food for all, in love for all. And so it isn't so impossible. If you listen to all the stories and all the historical facts that we're bringing in today, someone may say, oh my God, this is so complex and this is so complicated, and where are we to start? Well, we've always had a nature to contain unlimited love, unbridled love.
Hmm.
It's always been our number one nature. Let's forget the castings of all the religious titles we have borne, all the robes we have worn, all the marriages we have dispensed with. You know, we can hold on to the children though, and let us and let us just get back to the basis of our tissue element, longing for love.
Yeah.
But we are love.
Yeah.
That is the stuff. Love isn't pouring in from the outside. Love pours in from the incredible universe. This unlimited amount of love is constantly pouring in from the vast basin of the universe, not just Earth. And we, as a single entity, can take in so much. We can be overwhelmed by the love that comes in.
Yeah. And I think something to point out to people when we talk about feminine and masculine, those energies have to be balanced not only in our society, but also within ourselves. That each individual has to have a balance of energy.
Absolutely, because we have all of it inside of us.
Hmm.
Primordial masculine, primordial feminine, one may be more creative than the other,
Right.
and it determines our sexuality or gender or whatever. And we've got to get past all this confusion with the children gender as well and the surgical changing of all of that, because it is just a humongous assault on our on our young people.
Hmm.
But another conversation for that one. We want to stay in a space where those of us who are adult and mature can take something from the talk you and I are having this conversation
Hmm.
about sizing down the family back to the basics.
Hmm.
What are the basics? Our nutrition, our health care, our mental care, not necessarily medical health care, but natural health care.
Hmm.
How do we relate to each other again? How much kindness are we using in our lives, employing when, look, when we have disasters, it's not that the human spirit doesn't know about kindness. When there are disasters, even the neighbors that you never liked in the first place, you rush out to help them if they're struggling because there's a disaster, and we pull together. Well, there is a disaster. It's a great, colossal disaster right now with all governance, with all the way the world has been running.
Hmm.
So let us use this time to pull together our energy and help each other by helping our family first.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about the divine feminine and we talked about the divine masculine, and we've got this situation now where we talk about toxic masculinity. And I love what you said about like we don't have time to be angry about this. But there I think there's a fear from the people who have been in charge that if we are set free, that we're going to do to them what they've done to us.
No, no. In no original religion, and I keep saying original because I don't even like the word religion.
I agree with you. Yeah.
In I was a robed person when
Right,
I'm
right.
saying this. In all of our spirituality, every tradition, there has never been an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
Mm.
Never, never, never. And there
Hmm.
can never be.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
have we will be showing the same kind of love and restraint that we would like done upon us, because none of us are free from mistakes.
Yeah.
My goodness, I need a whole 100 days to talk about list of my graveyards of mistakes,
Mm.
um, that I understood that I have made and paid huge deep price for it. But the amazing thing is, we've got to know that we are always forgiven by the divine energies, which are part of us. It's not separate from us. And we have to also forgive those who are, no matter how egregious their crimes, the new earth has a space for rehabilitation. Let me put it that way.
Yes.
For loving rehabilitation, not caged rehabilitation,
Hmm.
not the horror of what we call our prison system here, but basically true rehabilitation, or coming back, having the choice to come back into another 3D dimensional world where we can continue to grow at the pace we want to grow. Nothing is being forced here.
Yeah.
We're being given an opportunity that has never been given in universal time,
Yeah.
and that is to up our frequency, get into a more fifth dimensional way of being, which is not something new to our organism. We've all had such ancient ancestry. We have been there before.
Mm.
And we need to understand that we've been there before. This is not brand new.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. You mentioned 3D because I know you tell people we need to stop identifying so much with the physical, and of course most of us that's what I am my body. That's the way we believe. What do you mean by when you say we should stop identifying so much with the physical?
Well, we have to take care of it. We have to feed it properly. We have to give it the nourishment that it's calling for. And right now, the nourishment, because of the energies changing into crystalline tissue energy, is going to be a lot lighter.
Mm.
Fresh foods and fruits and vegetables and so on, rather than heavy. So yes, we must take care of the body in the sense of it is a temple. is a
Yes.
temple without which we can't express our consciousness. So what good is consciousness if we don't have a body to express it? Of
Yes.
course, it is the overriding consciousness of everything, and we don't need a body. But while we have a body, we need to take care of it. But the body can also be an entrapment. It can be an obsession. It can be an I must look this way, I must lose this weight, I must. No, we've got to energize it. We've got to do the pranic work. We've got to breathe properly. We've got to know when to sit back and be quiet, whether we call it meditation or contemplation. We have to know that our intuition is always at work because it's the motor that's being driven by the consciousness itself.
Mm.
We don't need the middleman or governments or frontmen in religion or politics or society to give us what we already have within us, which is direct access to our intuition, direct access to what is sacred, direct access to our consciousness. And
Yeah.
that is what we're reclaiming today in Elite. So yes, the body is important. The balance between body and spirit is very important to understand that we're not exempt from spirit. We are spirit,
Hmm.
but we have to care for the body too.
Yeah, and what you just said about we have direct access really resonates with me also because I that's what I see religion a lot of religions have done. They've come and they've interjected themselves between us and the divine. And then we've got a lot of people that look at the government as the divine. They look to the government for as kind of a type of God. And the thing I was just talking with someone recently was telling me that she's getting visions of what's going to happen and the governments are going to try to scare us, use fear to get us to go to really rely on them even more. And this message of empowerment, of freedom, of going directly to the divine, as a former Christian, this is Jesus' message. I mean, Jesus was like, you go directly to the source. You don't have to go through religion or through other men.
Absolutely. If we look at all of the ancient scriptures, and that we don't have all the body of the work available to us in any religion,
Right.
Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, whatever. It's always about the direct relationship
Hmm.
to creator. We call it, let's say, prime source.
Hmm.
We're not talking about anybody's religion. We're talking about prime source. We all
Right.
have access to it, complete and incredible access. And what the government will try to do, because they're on shaky grounds, they have nothing to grasp at. They have been light body energies helping to restore Earth and get rid of all of the maniacal, destructive forces for quite the last 5 years, actually,
Mm.
while we've been asleep. And we need to understand that yes, they're going to fake an alien invasion,
Hmm.
and they're going to do it through a holographic way to scare the entire public. But guess what? The fleets are already here. They're behind the clouds. There's trillions of fleets waiting to
Mm.
show themselves. And these guys are the governments, that is, are all kind of shaking their heads. Look, they have lost the battle. Now they need to make a clear and prescient exit in the most humble possible posture that they
Yeah.
can take, and ask for the forgiveness and start the rehabilitation while we get on with what we must do as humanity on
Yeah.
the new earth.
Yeah, it's interesting, Maya. I was been listening again to a lot of people talking about this, and there is fear being raised in people because they're saying, there are demonic forces there? There's dark forces. And there are forces that oppose the light, if you want to put it that way. But there's so many more of us. There's so many more people who want the same things. We want peace, we want harmony, we want health, we want nutrition. We want those things, and our power is much greater than their power is.
Imagine that and I don't like the word extraterrestrial or alien. These are all families from different the stars of Pleiades and Sirius and Andromeda and Arcturian. I mean, we have so many star systems that have always been witnessing Earth, by the way, and we never knew that.
Hmm.
But if one of these amazing ancient beyond ancestry family came down to Earth and saw how much humanity goes out and have coffee and laugh and play football and enjoy and family outing and picnic amid the corruption.
Yeah.
amid the devastating darkness that has been underneath our feet, over our head, shrouding our souls. And yet we have been doing this. Now we have much less destructive forces because they've been clearing out, they've been cleaned out. So now we don't have to worry anymore, because the time to worry we already went through.
I,
We were already inundated with these forces while we were busy playing football and tennis. And so now the forces have been practically cleared out. They're trying to retain a certain amount of stability. They can't, they no longer can. The overpowering force, the Christos force of the universe, is so overpowering right now in our protection that if only we all knew this, if only we could understand this. It's not a belief, it is knowing it ourselves. It is just being quiet enough to take this energy in and saying, yeah, I can feel it. Not believe what I'm saying, not believe what you're saying, Brian, not believe anything about our conversation. They're only words. But we have a way, the direct way of having this frequency seep into ourselves in every quiet moment. And every time we decide that we're going to go to sleep, and we have an intention to see what is behind the sleep, we have way much less dross now to deal with, now that our incredible family of light have been clearing all of it out of our way.
yeah, I just got goosebumps when you
The,
said that. That
we don't fear what? The time for fearing is over. We went through it.
yeah,
We
that
went through it unbeknownst that they were crawling out of the sewage system. They were crawling out from under the ocean. They were crawling out from all the bunkers of the elites and the wealthy and the what. And hey, we are way beyond left and right and blue and red and green and whatever our political party color is. They've all been involved in this.
yes, yes, yes. I love what you just said. It's so profound, and that goes to, when I started after I lost my daughter, I found some things that really helped me, and one was gratitude practice. And by doing that, I can focus on what's going right. And it's really easy to turn on the news and see everything that's going wrong and to get caught up in fear. But I was telling someone the other day, people are living longer. We are making great advances with health, in our country. Even the wars that we've got going on, at least now people are realizing they're wrong. That we're all saying that, even what the United States is doing, frankly, this idea of unlimited aggression, which has been the way for thousands of years, as we were talking about, we're now saying this is not the way. We recognize that. So we are waking up, I think, as a humanity.
But we need to not only wake up to the reality outside of us, surrounding us, but the reality inside of us.
Exactly.
This
Exactly.
reality that I am full consciousness, I am complete love. I have the same amount of love as the Christ has in himself.
Mm,
I am absolutely the devout. Even Buddha was a Pleiadian, by the way, before his word, but never
mm,
mind that. I don't
mm,
want to throw the audience off into complete whatever. Look, for millennia, we have waited until the government gave us the say so to say something, to think something, to know something.
mm-hmm.
That time is done. It is cremated. It is finished. It is beyond ashes. We now have the absolute, not always had that birthright, but the absolute authority right now in our own sovereignty to know, to think, to see what truly is.
Yeah. As you said that, you have the love of Christ, you individually. That in Christianity would be called blasphemy. In fact, that's the reason why they killed Jesus, because they said he was taking on this role. I mean, Jesus was very bold about saying that, he even quoted a scripture says, ye are gods. He said, it says in your own scripture, ye are gods. And that's when they said, we have to stone this man. And we are talking about like some of the gospels that we haven't received. One of the most amazing gospels is called the Gospel of Thomas. It
Yes.
wasn't included in the Christian Bible. And when
Mhm.
you read the Gospel of Thomas, it's amazing. I mean, it's truly, and people that haven't read it, read it. It will resonate with you.
And that is why we have got to chuck the whole thing, kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
We've got to chuck it, but we're not chucking it. We're not chucking ourselves. We're reclaiming our own full consciousness by chucking what has been false,
Mm-hmm.
what has been semi truth, what has had some tinge of truth to it, what is, because always in this kind of governance, there has been some little truth amid
Yes,
a barrel
yes,
of lies,
yes,
right?
exactly.
So it's a strategy. We've just got to put it past us. We've got to laugh at it. We have to do a country song about it,
Yeah, yeah,
and then take it to Nashville and make it famous or whatever. We just have to sing our way through this, because the misery has already been done. We've
right.
already faced it, we've already lived it, we've already grieved it. And we did it in such a way that we didn't even know we were living through the misery. As I said, we played tennis, we went swimming, we had picnics, we walked barefoot on the grass, you know.
Yeah, that is such a brilliant observation. I love that you said if aliens came here and you look and we think about. I just got back. I was telling you before we started from a 10-day vacation. We went to the beach. So while we're all saying that everything's falling apart, we're watching football and we're going to the beach and we're having high school graduations and we're living. I mean, we are such resilient beings
We're
that can
totally
do these at the
resilient.
yes,
And so now it's the good time.
right.
Now forget about, look, we've had galactic forces clearing out the dross for us, the humongous depravity of it. And I hope we never hear all of it, really,
Mm, mm,
because basically it was so depraved.
yeah.
What has been cleared out from the stargates, so many 12 stargates that were locked down with the whole AI technology. We've had more amazing technology from what we call extraterrestrial alive and being used
Mm,
here in on Earth
mm-hmm.
than was ever declared. They show us this old Orion thing that looked like a bathtub that's having a panic attack, going to the moon when there has been so many, what is called commute back and
Yeah.
forth to the moon in the most advanced vehicles. Okay,
Hmm.
so we don't care to know any. I mean, we really don't need the details.
Yeah.
Honestly, we don't need the details. We just need these clowns to step down, do a humble bow and exit from the field.
Mm-hmm.
And humanity no longer needs them
Right.
to reclaim its essence or its divinity.
Yeah. And again I want to really emphasize that point because there is this idea of retribution and what you did to me, I'm going to do to you. And that's the mentality that got us to where we are. And so once we step into the mentality that you and I are talking about, the need for retribution, the need to get back, it's gone. We don't need that. That's the old energy. That's not what we're
So
talking about.
one thing that works, that I've noticed worked with the students and stuff that I've had over the years, and now
Hmm.
not so many, um, how much of your energy do you want to use up
Yeah. Yeah.
in a negative way?
Right.
And do you have the luxury of that much energy that you're going to miss your chance to elevate your vibration and frequency into the new earth that has everything for free: your food, your earth, your beauty, your love, total sufficiency, no scarcity in the
Hmm.
new earth, no disease in the new earth, because we've had these med beds and the technology on earth for such a long time, but never given to you to use to heal your cancer, to heal your brain tumor, to heal your lungs failing, to heal any of these things. And we
Hmm.
have had the technology. So how much of our own coherence, inner coherence and frequency, do we want to give up to this negative retaliation?
Yeah.
Because, okay, if you make a conscious choice that I'm going to give up X percentage of myself so that I can get back at these clowns, great. You're making a conscious decision to slay
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
in essence.
It's not the wisest decision. And once you understand who you are and who we all are, we're all one. When you strike out at another, you're just striking out at yourself. So you don't even want that.
And we forget, and this is another message that every avatar, every amazing awakened soul, whether they came and left, so many we've had that has visited Earth and left us, or gurus or whatever, the awakened ones,
Hmm.
has always said to us that basically, which one of us can live in a glass house?
Yeah.
We've all made mistakes,
Hmm.
some more horrible than others. some that shocked even me when I was living up in the mountain. And so, since when have we become totally free of being forgiven? How we have to understand that the human journey has mistakes in it.
Yeah.
The human journey has darkness in it. The human journey has light in it. Unfortunately, for so many, the darkness have taken over the light.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that that spark of light isn't there and may come back. That possibility, that potential must always be
Yeah.
held as sacred.
Yeah. Now we've already touched on this, but one of the questions I wanted to ask you, because you talk about this primordial fear of the feminine, the fear of Shakti. We've kind of touched on it, but let's go more deeply into that. Why do you think that is, that there is this fear?
Because it is the creative force.
Hmm.
And when the patriarch have no such creative force in them, they want to usurp the creative force of the divine feminine so they can continue to create all the garbage that they've been creating, the
Mm.
wars, the violence, the rockets, the shooting into the sky, the manipulation of sky, water, earth, underneath, travel. They want the creative energy of the Shakti.
Mm.
And they've been trying to usurp it for so long, and they're so tired trying to usurp it. They've destroyed their own masculine, divine, primordial energies trying to claim what is never theirs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing can replace the primordial, divine, feminine, period. There's
Yeah.
no existence without it.
Right. Exactly.
So when they just try to strip it from the earth herself, meaning every female animal, every female species, every female woman, they're extracting it. They're trying to extract it so that they can douse it down, so that there is no remembrance of it, so that they can
Mm.
control it.
Yeah.
But try as they might for millennia, and they've been trying for, oh my God, over 26,000 and more years,
Yeah.
cannot.
So for the women who are listening now, who are inspired, who say, "Okay, what's my first step? How do I begin to reclaim my divine feminine power? What's a
By
good way to start?"
understanding that it's within you.
Mm.
You understood it when you were giving birth to your first child. You understood that your threshold for pain was so enormous that even medical prescription didn't quite match.
Mm.
You understood that you carried this life within your womb without sunlight, without, and you were feeding it. We know, women know who they are, Brian. They have always known who they are. It's just that your grandparents' time was the time that they remembered it most.
Mm.
And so much have taken over the commerciality, the products, the this, I must buy this, I must do this, have taken over our women today. Let us sit in that quiet space again. Let us understand. You could read I Am Shakti. It's a beautiful book, but as you said, it's a deep book. It's not a let's fix this problem and get it done in 2 seconds. It isn't.
Hmm.
It takes us into some of the history that we need to know or we may not need to know. All we need to know is this: sit in the quiet of who you are. Reclaim everything that you doubt about yourself. Look at that clearly, and everything that you love about yourself. In fact,
Mm.
make a list what it is I don't like. What are the shadows of myself? Because all of us try to push it in the background. We don't even want to make a list of it.
Right.
The shadow of myself. And what is it that I love about myself? And that side is usually so slim you wouldn't believe it. When women do get to writing down
Yeah.
those two columns,
Yeah.
they can find all their shadows very, very quickly. What they love about themselves become more hard pressed to find. So we need to build that column.
Yes.
And a simple
Yes.
way, an ABC way. I don't want to give us like all these techniques to do. Look, we're overridden with practices. We're overridden with 2 million yoga practices, with Tai Chi practices, with walking practices, with now sleepwalking practices. We've got so many practices that we don't have time to be who we are.
Yeah. 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 Great point. Yeah. Very good point. I love that. Yeah, because what we are, and for me, it's like you made a really good point because all these practices, a lot of times, it's just looking for answers outside of ourselves. And this is something that took me many, many years to learn because I was taught by my religion to look outside myself. The answers that you need are really within. So it's really a matter of just things like getting quiet. I have four very simple practices that I do, and that's pretty much what I focus on doing like every day. So you can get caught up. You can get caught up with, oh, which type of meditation should I do? Which type of breathing exercise should I do? And all those things are great, but it's really a matter of, like I said, trusting what's within you.
What
And,
works for
and
you?
yeah, yeah. What's
What works for you? You can try a different type of meditation. Uh, we can't force the mind. The mind has been part of the problem of our lockdown,
yeah.
but we can honor the mind and let it be and go to a deeper sense of who we are, that
Hmm.
intuition behind
Yeah.
the mind.
Yeah.
In our meditation, we could just ask the mind to be. We can't say be quiet, shut up, whatever, because it doesn't work.
Right.
But we can become, instead of engaged in the mind, we can become the observer of the mind,
Yeah. That's the
the
thing.
witness of the mind. Like, okay, so now I've distanced myself. I'm no longer in the mind, warping that story further because someone, let's say something happened that wasn't too kind and you didn't like the way you responded to. And the mind is now sitting in a quiet place at home and it's going, oh my God, I should have done this and I didn't do that. And oh, but I felt so upset by that. And then you take on the story, and before you know it, you're on a bus, then you're on a train, then you're on a plane,
Yeah.
then you're in the middle of a deep ocean and can't swim. Okay. So basically, that's taking on the mind. And
Hmm.
when I say observe the mind, we have something so beautiful, it's called a conscience.
Mm.
If we do wrong, we know it. We may kind of sneak around it, but somehow in a quiet moment, it comes back.
Hmm.
I'm not so proud of what just happened. I'm not so proud of myself in that situation. So rather than recriminate yourself, what you do is you sit with it. You kind of replay the situation. You're observing it like a movie screen. And you take a deep breath and go, next time, I will do better.
Yeah. Exactly.
Next time, I know that I shouldn't have lost my cool or my temper or my patience. And instead, I should have just let it be the other person's reality and leave it be there, not take it on. There's so many things we do. And in the quiet moment of looking, we begin to observe it and we are at peace with it. But if you take it on and you're blaming that person still and that, you make it into an operetta, then it's not resolving anything. So there's
Yeah.
a difference between taking the mind on and observing it.
Yes.
Become the observer,
Yes.
always.
Yeah, that is, I think, one of the keys is again, it's understanding who we are. It's knowing who we are, knowing we are not our bodies, we are not our thoughts, we are not even our mind. We are the observer, we are the consciousness that can step outside of that. And that separation allows you to do things like you said, instead of beating myself up for something that I did, I say, "Oh, I could have done better. Next time I will do better," and we let it go.
And I'm looking at your background of your studio and I see this beautiful Christ
Yeah,
and this beautiful Buddha sitting on the top and this amazing picture of your daughter, I believe.
it is my daughter. Hmm.
Did you say you lost a family member
My
somewhere?
daughter, yeah, she passed away 10 years, 11 years ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I heard that and I
Yeah,
wasn't
thank you.
sure. Uh-huh.
But
Okay,
yeah,
Brian.
the Christ figure is really interesting because again, I was raised in the Christian background, and I have all these Buddhas, and I've got some Hindu figurines that my daughter's given me because she knows I know I love stuff like that. And I was like, I was raised in Christianity, but I don't have any Christ figures. But I had a crucifix, and it was like I had to get rid. I got rid of the crucifix, and it's really, how hard it is to find a meditating Jesus statue. I mean, they're almost impossible to find. Um,
Yeah, because the patriarch society, if we see the guy strapped up on a cross,
yeah,
it will forever be, it was a superimposition for the mind. It was like you can be on that cross too if you don't do what we're telling you to do.
exactly. Yeah,
It was an inferred, the martyr. The martyr image is so powerful in the structure and the strategy of the 3D governance.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. I really hadn't thought about it that way, but that is the whole thing. That's the whole thing. It's like God killed Jesus so he didn't have to kill you. So this is you. This is you hanging up on this cross, and supposedly God did this to his
Yeah,
son.
it's a martyr image. Nobody's asking us to kill ourselves. Nobody, no God, no prime source is going to say to you, okay, I need you to go kill yourself.
Right.
No, they can say, the prime source can ask us, depending on the way we're constituted and the way we're built, through so many eons of incarnations, can say, you have all that it takes to be the warrior of light.
Mm-hmm.
Like Michael, Archangel Michael with that
Yeah,
exquisite sword, you
sure.
know. And even though I was brought up in the Hindu tradition, as I said, when we become monks, we look at reality.
Mm-hmm.
We are not looking at religion and which ceremony to do and which ceremony not to do, because all the ceremonies happen within ourselves. We're no longer like projecting it outside.
Yeah.
And the people who project it outside do it so they can remember it inside. Okay, so there's a reason for rituals too.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't belong to a ritualistic world as monks. What happened is you're looking at the internalization of your fire and how that works and all of the other. But I've always brought to mind, the archetypal energies that have supported me. Archangel Michael has always been one of them because I love his shining sword.
Mm.
I've always been a warrior of light,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
love the shining sword. And anytime I see the obstacles in my way, I pretend that, but I call on Michael to like just do a couple of, swirling around there in front of me,
Sure.
whatever. So we can use any archetypal, occasionally the Buddha in the quiet and the absolute, occasionally, a wonderful Vedic saint who had such quietude. Okay, Ramana Maharishi, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever archetype worked for us,
Mm-hmm.
our
Mm-hmm.
mind is vast. We have been, by the way, and our listeners need to know this, especially the fundamentalist ones, and that is we have been one religion or another throughout our lives. We have covered every single religious field in
Yeah.
our incarnations.
Yes.
We've been a
Yes.
Muslim, we've been a Hindu, we've been a Christian, we've been
Oh, what I find so funny is I study
we've been an
near-death
Orthodox
experiences.
Greek, we've been everything.
Yeah, I study near-death experiences, and I've talked to so many people who've had them, and they get to the other side, and they'll say, "What's the one true religion?" And the answer's like, "There isn't one." Well, I say that there actually is one true religion, but they all are like facets of it, because as you
It's called
mentioned,
universal law.
yeah,
That's the one true religion, the
exactly.
universal law that applies to each and every one of us.
Exactly, exactly, and it's really interesting. Like Star Wars, there's a lot of truth in Star Wars.
Absolutely. And in the Avatar movie, too.
Yes, absolutely, in Avatar. So that keeps coming through. That keeps bubbling up. As much as the patriarchy tries to hide it, it's really fascinating to me how that comes through our art
It
and
comes through the creative arts, it comes through the visionaries, it comes through those who have the vision to put it out there. But right now it's happening in front of us, right around us, on
yeah,
top of us, around us, beneath our feet.
yeah. I want people be encouraged as you're listening to Maya and I talk. There's some stuff that's going on, and we can focus on the darkness, we can focus on the conflict, we can focus on the disclosure, but also be encouraged that what's being revealed is meant to be revealed, and we have better days ahead.
We have better days ahead. We need to turn off our mainstream television.
Mm.
We can hear the news from our neighbor. Trust me, we'll get it.
Yeah, yeah.
and and just look at some of the reels about what's really happening
Hmm.
on the YouTube reels, on the Facebook reels, what's really happening with the galactic light beings and Earth and our transition into the new Earth. We need to educate ourselves
Wow.
about that.
Well, we're coming to the end of our time. Is there anything that I didn't get a chance to ask you that you would like to discuss today?
I'm sure quite a lot. We need to do a second round on this for
Yeah,
2027.
I have so enjoyed this
Brian, I
conversation.
feel well, so loved, and just a huge permeation of kindness coming from you.
Well, I feel the same from you, and I appreciate you being here and doing, this at this time. And it's interesting. You said you left the being a monk to come back out into the world and to share this with us, and you're much needed at this time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. It was really an honor to be with you, Brian. Thank you.